Thanksgiving isn't supposed to taste like betrayal. But this year, while the smell of turkey and roasted garlic filled the house, my phone held screenshots that could burn everything down. My name's Alex. I'm 36 years old, husband, father, marketing strategist. My whole career is built on reading between the lines, noticing what others miss and moving pieces without making noise. It turns out those skills work at home, too. 2 months ago, I felt something shift in my marriage. Tiny at first, but sharp enough to draw blood if I touched it. My wife, Emily, started coming home later than usual. She said meetings ran long. She said new clients needed attention, but she also smiled at her phone more than she smiled at me. Little half smirks when she thought no one was watching. And new work trips appeared on her calendar that hadn't existed before. There was also a new name, Daniel Carter. He was everywhere suddenly, her mentor, her ally, the man who helped her get that big promotion. She spoke his name with warmth, with a softness I hadn't heard in a while. At first I told myself stories, the safe ones. She's just busy. She's proud of her work. Don't be paranoid. But something about the way she guarded her phone said otherwise. Something about the way she came home glowing, but not for me. So I stayed calm. I watched. Quiet is where the truth lives. Then came the night that changed everything. Emily had dozed off on the couch after a long day. Netflix still whispered on the TV. Her phone, face down beside her, buzzed once and lit up, just long enough for me to see a preview I was never supposed to see. Daniel. Last night was incredible. My stomach fell. My hands didn't. I moved slowly, quietly, like I was defusing a bomb. Picked up the phone, unlocked it while she snored softly. No pictures, just words. But words can be worse. Messages full of sly jokes and hidden memories. Late-night confessions about hotel bars and celebrations after her promotion. And then the one that stuck like a blade. You earned this in more ways than one. I didn't slam the phone. I didn't wake her. I didn't scream, I just took screenshots, chat after chat, timestamp after timestamp until the story was whole and undeniable. Then I slipped the phone back, kissed her forehead, and whispered into the dark, "Sleep well." The next few weeks, I became a quiet machine. Emails, travel receipts, meeting invites disguised as dinners. Even a photo she didn't realize had synced to our shared drive, a hotel bathroom counter with 2 toothbrushes. Hers and someone else's, every proof I found. I kept organized, neat, digital bullets in a silent chamber. At work, I smiled. At home, I was loving, present, but a shade cooler, enough that she could feel something off. One night, she hovered in the kitchen doorway, frowning. "You okay?" she asked. I looked up from my laptop and gave her a small, careful smile. Kissed her forehead. Of course, but it wasn't the same "of course" she used to get. And we both knew it. Inside, I was already moving pieces. I'd learned Daniel was married. A wife named Sarah, 2 kids, happy pictures all over his public feed. Thanksgiving family trips, smiling faces, picture-perfect marriage. Sarah deserved to know who her husband really was. Thanksgiving. It felt almost poetic. While Emily planned cranberry sauce and guest seating charts, I was planning something else. A different table, one with truth served cold. Thanksgiving morning arrived with crisp air and a sky the color of steel. The kitchen smelled like roasted garlic and butter. But under it all was the weight of the plan I'd spent weeks shaping. While Emily hummed music and basted the turkey, I sat at the counter with my laptop and a calm I didn't feel. On my screen was an email, unsent but ready. To Sarah Carter. Subject, "You deserve the truth." Attachments, screenshots, dates, hotel receipts, chat logs, no flourish. No rage, just evidence and one line. "I thought you should know who your husband has been with." I hit send. The tiny whoosh of the email going out felt louder than it should have. Final. Irreversible. Then I closed the laptop, set it aside, and helped Emily arrange the table. By noon, our families arrived. My parents, my brother, Emily's sister, and her husband, cousins with loud laughter. Kids tore through the hallways. Everyone hugged, joked, drank wine. Emily glowed. Hostess, mother, perfect wife, and checked her phone a little too often. I noticed the first buzz hit around 1 o'clock. She glanced down, expression tightening just enough to register. Then she pasted on a smile. Another buzz. Another. Her hand trembled once as she slid the phone away. By 3, dinner was served. Glasses clinked, someone blessed the meal, conversation spilled over like warm gravy. Emily laughed too loudly at her brother's joke. Overcompensating. I watched her from across the table, her eyes darting down to her phone every few minutes, and then the knock. Sharp, hard, purposeful. Every head turned. The kids went quiet. Emily froze, carving knife halfway through the turkey. I pushed my chair back and stood. At the door stood Sarah Carter. She looked nothing like the smiling vacation photos I'd seen. Pale, shaking but fierce, eyes red but blazing. In one hand, her phone. In the other, nothing but resolve. "Alex?" she asked, voice flat. "Yes." "Thanks for telling me." She stepped inside before I could answer. The room went stone silent. Sarah's eyes locked on Emily. "You," she said, voice trembling with fury and heartbreak. "You've been sleeping with my husband." Gasps, sharp and raw. Silverware clattered onto plates. My brother muttered, "Holy." Under his breath, Emily's face drained of color. Sarah didn't let her finish. "Don't." She turned to me and her voice softened just for a second. "I'm sorry to do this here, but you were right. I needed to know before I sat across from him pretending everything was fine." I nodded once. "You deserve to know." She looked back at Emily one last time. "You blew up 2 families for what? A promotion and a thrill?" Then she turned and left. The door closed behind her like the final note of a song. Silence. Heavy. Awkward. Electric. Then came the whispers. "Emily." "Is it true?" my mother asked, voice cold and stunned. My brother shook his head, disgust on his face. "You're unbelievable." Emily's sister looked like she'd been slapped. Emily tried. It's complicated. I cut her off quietly, firmly. "Don't." And just like that, the room's sympathy shifted. Not toward her. Toward me. My father cleared his throat but didn't speak. My mother reached across and touched my arm. A small, silent show of support. The kids sensed the storm and disappeared down the hall. Thanksgiving dinner continued, but nothing tasted the same. Conversation turned hushed, fragmented. People looked at me with quiet respect and at Emily with something between anger and pity. I didn't need to yell. The truth did the work. That night, after the house emptied and silence settled, she tried again. "I ruined us," she whispered, face blotched from crying. I don't know why I did it. I stayed seated across the room, calm and cold. "You didn't just cheat," I said. "You turned me into a fool. In my own home. In front of my family," her eyes pleaded. "I'm sorry." "I know," I said softly. Then I let the silence do the rest. For the first time, she seemed to understand that sorry wasn't a door back in. It was just a word. The next weeks were heavy and deliberate. I spoke with a lawyer quietly and efficiently, the same way I'd gathered proof. Papers were drawn. By Christmas, I handed them to her. She cried, begged, promised to change. But she didn't fight the facts. She couldn't. "I can't stay married to someone who turned our vows into a joke," I said simply. "You burned what we built. Now you'll live with the ashes." And I meant it. By New Year's, she'd moved out, not to Daniel, who was now alone and ruined, but to her sister's spare room. Daniel's wife filed for divorce, too. The life they risked everything for collapsed before it even began. Months later, I'm lighter, quieter, not bitter, just free. Thanksgiving taught me something I'll never forget. Revenge doesn't need screaming or smashing plates. Sometimes it's a single, perfectly timed truth. I didn't burn her life down. She did. I just opened the windows and let everyone see the smoke. I walked away with my dignity intact and a future wide open. She walked away with the life she chose, and that's enough. If you felt the power of taking control back, like this video and subscribe. More stories just like this are coming soon.